Good day, everybody. Maybe it seems left of field, but there was a recent incident that inspired me, felt like it would be beneficial to somebody out here listening to really cover the idea or the breakdown, the dichotomy between creating a very strong culture and having a cult. And even prior, I had these ideations about, just the urban eloquence line, and one of which is based around language, spells. And one of the ones I wrote down years ago was critique your cult. Because culture is literally cult and your. The your is just behind the cult. So the culture is your cult, effectively. But a recent situation brought back to my attention just how dominant cult-like thinking can be inside of groups. But once you're in that group, if you fall prey to that thinking or those views of the world, sure, in certain situations that can be beneficial to an extent. But what I see happen more often than not is that people begin to lose their own self-identity within those cults. And so to be more pointed and more specific, people who join multi-level marketing companies, very, very often, what they wind up joining or why they join is literally the cult of personality, whoever is at the top of that chain. Whether it be the executive, the chairman, whatever the title is in that company, doesn't really matter. But there's this whole process of what they call edification. And the reason I know so much about this, is some of y'all may not know, I have been a part of several different multi-level marketing companies, technically, but I never recruited a single individual. Because I never joined to recruit people. I joined because my goofy ass thought in most of these companies that selling the product could actually make me money. Not that it can't, but so just a quick recap. The first one I ever signed up with was not Cutco, despite what many people believe. Cutco's not a multi-level marketing company, it's a sales company. But there are certain times of the year where if you recruit people who come in and they hit a certain sales volume, they count towards a payoff trip that you can get. But you get paid based on selling knives. And so then I tried this thing called Vima in college, right? People talk about BMWs, Verve. And so I joined that. A lot of guys in high school did that. I never heard of it in high school. And so there was this dude I met. I won't throw his name out there. He's a good guy. He got out great timing right before the pyramid scheme fell, and they literally shut the company down. But, he was honest about what it was. He was like, yo, we got to go recruit people and we're going to get paid. But I never recruited anybody. I brought some protein powder, and I used to mix that and make little protein shakes with Fruity Pebbles when I lived in South Carolina running the Cutco office. And then he moved over to a different company called Modere, and they sold household products and goods. They're still around. And initially I transitioned, and then like a month in, I was like, I went to one conference. I was like, bro, I'm done. Like, this is stupid. Like, this ain't for me. And then further down the line, the last one I joined, and it was really to get intel because I wanted to see how it was run, was iMarkets Live. I'd already been trading, doing my own thing.
I was Forex?
Yes, Forex. And a buddy of mine, dude I trusted a lot, good spirit, had run it up and built a huge organization. Two dudes I went to college with, one dude that I knew prior to college, and they ran it up and went crazy. And so I'm like, okay, if anybody's gonna do this the right way and actually teach people the skill set, and that's what was interesting about the Forex thing, was that there was a tangible skill set being taught. Not just like some product that's kind of throwaway, but like, look, if you learn how to do this, you literally can just print money in a way. And so I said, you know what? Let me pay to have access to him inside of this organization to see how it's run. And so I did that for a while. I wanted to see how their signals were, all of that. I think I was in it maybe 3-4 months, but I'm still doing my thing on the side. And I'm like, all right, cool. I feel like I got the intel I needed. I'm out. And then today, the dude I went to high school with, different guy all together, sends me a message because earlier this week I made a post about a trade that I did. Right, this is cryptocurrency, it's not Forex, but when you trade a chart, it doesn't matter if it's rice or Bitcoin. You trade in price action. And he sent me this message that was a screenshot of $500 that he said he turned into 10,000. He sent me a screenshot of his Cash App. No other context, out the blue. And so I hit him back and was like, hey, cuz, yo, congrats on making your 10K. However, I would just caution you if you find yourself in a situation where all you're getting is signals from somebody and they're not really teaching you the game behind all this works. Because especially when you join a trading multi-level marketing company, there is so much that happens on the back end. We don't have time to go into it, but just know There's a reason they can afford to pay these chairmen hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, because they're making a substantial amount of money, and a lot of it is not from the recurring revenue subscriptions. It's from reading your order books. That's the short answer to that. But I hit dude with the message, and he doesn't say anything back to me other than a message saying how he took 500 and turned it into 10K. I hit it with another message that said, bro, stop talking to me crazy, speak like a human. Then he sent me, you can make 40K in 2 hours. And I blocked the nigga. And I tell that little anecdote to try to make this point that prior to him joining this, literally a year ago, he's hitting me up telling me about his comic book that he wants to finish writing and his daughter and all this other stuff. And now I'm getting these robo messages that are basically spam and very disingenuous. And I think that people who find themselves inside of any organization, it can be a multi-level marketing company, it could be a company on Wall Street. But if you realize once you're inside of it that there was this animosity or aggression towards people who think anything differently, you gotta be careful there, because it's one thing to try to maintain frame the same way that if you're a public speaker and you give a presentation to a room of 100 people, there's a reason they don't let you ask questions for a while, because you can lose control of the room. People start asking goofy questions. Somebody wants to heckle you, so you push all the questions, right? That's different than when somebody doesn't want anybody to think anything differently than what's going on. Because sure, just like you and I, when we sit down on Sundays, there's a certain energy that we maintain in our meetings, right? Nobody getting your feelings if we say something critical about what you did or what you didn't do. None of it is personal. It's all with constructive criticism in mind. But then you sometimes find people who they just kind of want to put blinders on everybody so that they don't really see what might be taking place. And this definitely was nothing that I had any intention to speak about today. But when I got that message, it was just like, damn,
for the third time.
For the third time. I gave him a couple chances, bro. And it was with that in mind, because initially when launching Native Assets, there was no intention to have anything other than just a full-blown mentorship. Intention being, I can impact people more deeply, more profoundly, more intimately if we're working on it one-on-one. But obviously that's a different requirement. It's not an inexpensive thing, right? It's several $1,000s, just full disclosure. But we're willing to help you. We're ready for you if you're ready. But having taken a moment to step back and ask myself, at the same time, you can either help fewer people, perhaps at a deeper level, or you can help way more people. And the idea typically is that you can't do that at a deep level, but I disagree. It's about how it's structured and what you set people up for. And out the gate, the whole intention was to teach people how to fish. And too often when people join things, specifically these multi-level marketing companies that are associated with investing and trading, too many of them don't actually teach the people the skills they need to know. They bring them in, they indoctrinate, they rework the thinking, they get them really bought into belief because they point to the person at the top who usually made most of their money because they got hundreds of people beneath them, not because they're a good trader. You can be, but how often do you see these dudes put their trades out? How often do you see them actually do anything? Whether it's Forex, whether it's somebody telling you that they can promise that you'll be, 10 pounds lighter, or that you'll have closed 20 real estate deals, or that you'll have 40 cars on Turo. It doesn't matter. But are they showing you proof that they do it? Not that they know somebody that does it, not that they know what goes into it, but that they do it. And yeah, man, I just wanted to speak a little bit to that, to try to just shake some people out of maybe the malaise or the tunnel vision when they do get too bought into these personalities or the dreams of people. And when you see other people making money, you see other people doing well, and you believe too intensely maybe that you'll just be the average of these people.
But I think I think there's more to it than just individuals that are prophetic in the monetary space. I mean, I think that you could look at this with individuals that said that they are God's prophets. The divides along the lines of, one could argue that the way that Christianity is split a gazillion times into different factions, that is a little prophetic. You could look at David Koresh and the FBI and the ATF incident out there in Waco. He was prophetic. People were listening to him. All the while, he's having sex with 12 and 13-year-old girls because he's God's prophet. But because everyone was like, no, he is that guy. He is the guy we should listen to. Because these people in these MLMs are saying no. And even look at the your cult of Tony Robbins. How many people want to just be associated with a training that has to do with Tony Robbins, even though Tony Robbins is not even associated with them, other than in name? What are people buying? What are people doing? How often are we just selling something to be like someone? It's all smoke and mirrors. MLMs in a lot of ways are smoke and mirrors. However, there are places that people mislabel as MLMs or that sort of thing, things like Cutco that are sales organizations. Now, you do catch a bonus, but look at Monet, right? The hair products. A lot of the money, the individuals I know that are in it, they're making a lot of money from the products, a sizable amount, but they're also recruiting people. And then they're running meetings with people that then are recruiting people. So there's money coming from different places. And if I'm speaking out of turn, just hit me in the DMs like I'll always do. But I believe that there's something to be said for us. Again, let's call it like we see it. Like, what are you truly doing here? I think that, a lot of this can be seen with people that are financially illiterate, and even people that are financially literate now, like where you're sitting at right now. You're far more financially literate than you used to be when you started in these organizations, or you hopped in because you thought this or that or the other. But it's low-hanging fruit. You can always sell being a part of something. I mean, that's the foundation for so many things. And most of them are just money games. They're just, let's get a little bit here. Let's get a few nickels here, a few nickels here, a few nickels here. We do that 20,000 times over every month. And here we go. And, scale that up. Why do people, look at the individuals they use for influencer marketing, like McConaughey with Wild Turkey, McConaughey with Woodford Reserve, McConaughey with the Austin. People look at him prophetically. Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights author, very, very well-known actor. I enjoy his content. People also look the same way, like you're talking about, at Jordan Peterson. I love Jordan Peterson's content. He's not Dios, but I really enjoy it. But you have to also still check yourself, like, what are you being sold here? At the end of the day, everything that he's telling you is also still pushing you to go buy his books and go listen to more of his content that he's making ad revenue on.
Yeah.
I think that it's our duty here, at least in 8020, if nowhere else, to bring you conversations, to bring you some things that, maybe not everyone wants to hear. A lot of your friends that are, selling Mary Kay and selling Monet, and, they're both M's and they both have a lot of women in them. I mean, we're selling love here, love of friends, but I don't know. I think that's a scattered explanation. Just the same, though, something you got to look at. We often don't wipe the eye boogers, the sleep boogers out of our eyes before we get involved in things. And oftentimes when we realize it's a little bit too late, you've already paid your money.
Yeah.
The clause says that there's no refund. You've already bought all the products. You've already bought into doing this. I mean, you even go to the place where then it's like pretty aggressive tribalism. Me versus you. Traditional versus blockchain. Forex versus real estate. What is that divide about? Well, actually, that divide is about just making more money. And each individual just riling each party up to get more going. Mm-hmm. But who's profiting at the end of the day? I think that's what we got to look at, too. Who's profiting off of all of these things? Usually it's people.
Banks.
It's usually the people that are higher up. But, people are taking cuts on everything. There's a middleman everywhere. Every time you run that credit card, there's a middleman. Mm-hmm. They benefit off people making stupid decisions continuously at scale.
And emotional decisions.
Yep.
And few things have the type of emotional impact, social impact, psychological impact that money does. And I think that that's why people so often are tempted to do things out of character, things that don't quite compute to them, because, that whole adage, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. That's not true. A lot of dumb shit makes money. A lot of shit that makes no sense makes
Selling
money.
people makes a lot of money, but wouldn't recommend it.
And so to your point about people wanting to buy, being a part of something, so much of this, all sales in some way, shape, or form, all advertisement is a combination of mind control and fear. And they'll use the fear, even the whole idea of the tactic. This is why I know to some degree I stagnated in Cutco's, because I never liked selling. I was good at, I had it, like we talked about the other day at the end of our meeting. I had a natural talent for it, but I didn't want to get good at it because I just felt like I'll just be getting better at manipulating people. And it's all about frame and how you see it, right? No, you got to be good at presenting why your offer is going to solve their problem. But it's like, if you talk to anybody, you've listened to some of these calls, when I get on the phone with them about native assets, I tell them straight up, look, I hate sales. So yeah, we're going to talk about the price. And it's a lot to some people. But hey, I'm not here to sell you. So I'm going to tell you what it is. I'll tell you how we can make it work if you're serious about making it work. But at the end of the day, hey, it gives me a little money for a little bit. This could change your life forever. If I really got to sell you more than that, then I'm out here selling you a dream and not really selling you the solution. And I'm about solutions, not dream making. And too many organizations, too many people profit from that whole manipulation of the frame, the illusion. And particularly for people who are unaware of it, obviously anybody can make the decision for them. And sometimes we like being sold. Like when someone's a good salesman, I give them compliments. I'm like, ooh, you're selling the fuck out of this shit, you know? But not everybody realizes like they are being sold some shit that could wind up being helpful, but probably, if we're talking about average across the board, average people running the organizations, average people joining these organizations, you're going to lose money. You're not going to learn what you thought you were going to learn. You're going to walk away frustrated and probably in a worse situation.
We're talking about MLMs here.
We're talking about coats. We're talking about being sold something. Even between televisions and chairs and furniture and coffee, people buy shit they don't need. I was this fucking close to getting the Porsche, bro. I still might do it once I feel like it truly makes no difference.
Yeah.
But at the time, it still would have been a payment that I can make, but it's not like, oh, I make fucking 200 times this every month.
And so it's like a penny.
Yeah, when it's really like, oh, like literally I'll blink and not realize I spent that money, cool, right? But I only bring it up to say the point that it's not even about if I could afford it or not. I realized I wanted to buy the proof that I had figured it out. Being in Atlanta, right? Growing up here, seeing people with nice things. Having that feeling about you, that energy when people see you walk in the room and you got the tailored shit on. You got the Dolces on. You got the crisp cut because you go to the barber twice a week because you don't give a fuck about spending that much every month on your appearance because it makes you more money.
$75 a haircut twice a week.
You know what I'm saying? For the folks to be taxing. And so I found myself...
Clean up the lines twice a week. Oh.
You know what I'm saying? And by God, y'all be sharp, boy. You know, sometimes your boy, we look a little, you know what I'm saying? We look Cuban sometimes. But I had to recognize what it was I was actually buying. Because I drove the Porsche, and it drives crazy. But when I sat in it, I was like, fuck, it costs how much to add the speakers? It costs how much to add this? Fuck, well, damn, this Mazda got a whole lot of features, man. And it actually feels pretty nice in here. And recognizing what I was actually being sold was the status.
Yep.
That's what I was chasing. That's what I was looking for.
That's what the Yeezys are. I mean, that's what going to Donda is. That's what all these things are. And sometimes I don't think that in totality it's wrong to buy into any of that.
Nah. But you got to be aware. And that's the only reason I frame it that way. At least know that's what it is.
I mean, I might make the same argument outside the monetary space with people going to Passion City Church. Okay.
Oh, please go for it. Ooh, that's a good one.
If you feel that you're a devout Christian, cool. I'm not here to take that away from you. I'm not here to tell you shouldn't do that. We can have a conversation at any time about that belief system or any other belief system, and I'm cool to have that. But if we're talking about going to a church that doesn't have, 7 red cameras on literally Mercedes-Benz level stadium tracks and 15 people on the video team to project it as a concert with a building that's 4 times larger than they even need for the amount of people that are there based on the fire marshal code. Like, it's interesting to me to see those kind of things happen where I get it. You're talking about, like, let's heighten the experience. Let's bring the community in. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do whatever. But how many times is it that, hey, I want to go to Passion City Church, not I want to go to church? How many times is it, hey, I want to go make sure I can take a video of Louis Giglio speaking because he's famous as a preacher, or Andy Stanley, or Joel Osteen, or Chris Stanley, or Les Brown, Grant Cardone? How much more often is it that you want to go and be a part of that instead of being a part of what the meat and potatoes are, what the main course is? You know, what is it that you're trying to get out there? Because if you're truly trying to dive into the Word, go to Birmingham, Alabama, and go into a devout Calvinist church, and you'll get the Word. And you'll get hit with revelation on the forehead. If that's truly what you're looking for. But honestly, I think we got to be honest with ourselves here. Honestly, I shouldn't have said that twice. What are you really trying to get out of it? If you truly like to go to Passion, you love the ambiance, you're there, and you're there, I'm not going to take that away from you. If you truly just love the way Yeezys feel, and it's not because you think Kanye's cool. Or if you want to spend the money, you want to do that, cool. You want to go to Passion City for that, cool. But let's not lie to ourselves.
There you go.
Like, why are you doing what you're doing? And I can't tell you that you live in your life a certain way or spending your money a certain way. That is none of my damn business at the end of the day, unless you elicit my opinion. And if you're listening to this, I would assume that you want to hear our take on it. So that's why we're offering it.
That's such a stretch, right?
Massive stretch. But I think just the same, it's totally fine if you want to buy whatever, to be a part of whatever. Just understand what you're doing. Don't let yourself be duped by yourself. Legitimately. I'm struggling with using the word okay to do XYZ because, again, you know, the way that I live, the way that you live, you and I also don't even live close to the same way.
I think all it is you're communicating is there's no right or wrong way to make your decisions and go about living your life so long. But the one thing that I think we're both getting at is please have some transparency with yourself.
Yes.
As to your intentions and why you like what you like.
Lean into the self-awareness, recognize, acknowledge, write down if you have to the reasons why you're doing things. And then if you ever feel like you're maybe off the beaten path, go back and reference that. Because if you don't have a way to reconcile why you're doing what you're doing, you might find that you're in a place where you didn't intend to go. And it's not to say that that's you're going to be broke or that's
a worst place at all.
No, it could be a great place. You could be enjoying the hell out of yourself, but maybe you set out to impact change in the world this way, and you get to 55 and you've got terminal prostate cancer and you got 6 months to live, and you look back and you're like, damn, why did I never? I think that's something to look at. You know, life is fragile, as we know. You can get hit by a car, you get shot, you grow old and die of diabetes. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen out here. But I think that you've just got to be honest with yourself first and foremost. And if you're not willing to do that, well, then unfortunately, I mean, we can't really do anything for you. Because we're not here to hold your hand. We're not daddy. We're not mommy. We didn't raise you. That's not what we're here to do. We're just here to encourage you to understand what the hell you're doing. And that's really all I got on that. Know what you're doing. Know the reasons why you're doing it. If you don't, spend some time to do that. Might be uncomfortable. And it's okay if you want to go to Passion City because you like the ambiance, because you like being there with other people that like to be there. Cool. Guess what? I love going to concerts for the same reason. Maybe church is your concert. Maybe Passion City is a place where you enjoy the energy. You know, maybe a bar is a place that you like to get a drink and have. Look, there's not a right and wrong answer. Just, I encourage you to know why you're doing what you're doing. That's all I got.
At the end of the day, understand motivations, understand your fears, understand your goals and where it is you want to wind up at, and just bring that back and see if your behaviors, your actions will get you there. And if not, is the alternate destination also cool? You know, when you ask people, what do you want to eat? They're like, oh, I don't care. And he suggests something, then they got an opinion. Like, oh, hold up, though. You say you ain't care. So you do care. You had a few caveats. Cool, just let me know them caveats.
We can always work with it if we have
We can work with it. You know, no seafood. Got it. So I just think that life is very similar. So anyhow, as always, we appreciate you letting us get some thoughts off here today. At the end of the day, like we say sometimes, who the fuck are we? What the fuck do we know? We're just out here figuring this thing on out, just sharing some perspectives as it stands right now. So all these episodes are available on YouTube. They're available on Instagram. You can listen to this on just about any platform that you would likely search for it on. And if you or somebody else you know would be a good fit, if they're a subject matter expert, if you think you just have something valuable to bring on to our audience, you just want to chop it up with us, holla at us. That's blessings@eighty20.life. And then you can hit both of us up on our requisite Instagrams as well as LinkedIn. As James said before, it's kind of hard not to find us. So anyhow, we appreciate y'all. You've been lovely. And y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay balanced. We out this thing. Peace.
Thank you.